gonna start now. It's about 8:05. Let's see. I'm gonna start recording this. So it's 8:05. It is December 23rd, guys. So 2 days before Christmas here, and we're still out here on the charts. This week is a very relatively slow week. With a lot of the US banks are closed this week, so volume has definitely been it actually has been a little bit more than usual. Last year it was dead during this time, but I guess with everything going on, especially with the Brexit news and the stimulus deal with the US, there is a lot of volume right now. Not definitely not normal that it's this much volume. So how these live sessions work, guys, is we're gonna run through all the pairs that I'm looking at to potentially take trades today. If I see a trade, I'll mark it out for you guys. I'll put out the signal in here, and we're gonna go through top-down analysis. So how me and Nick trade is we start on the higher time frames and then we work our way down to the lower time frames. We look at structure on the daily and the 4 hour, and then we look to enter on the 30-minute and the 1 hour time frame. So we're going to go over all of that. And GU is going to be a pretty good example of this. I'm going to get started first. We're going to go into the Discord chat. So for you guys that aren't in the Discord or just got in the Discord, I'm just going to give a little overview. This is our Discord chat. I'll drop the link here in the chat for you guys. There you go. In here, you're going to have all of these free channels. So these are all for free members right here. We've got this analysis tab. In the beginning of the week, me and Nick post all of our analysis for all the pairs that we're about to go over, and we did the Sunday Market Blitz. If you want to go back and look at these are all higher time frame analysis, so they're still valid throughout the week. And then every day we'll post like a little watch list before each of the sessions. Today I'm going to go through and I'm going to do a little recap video from all the analysis that was posted, and I'll get that out to you guys at some point today. Now let's dive right in. We're going to get onto the actual charts here. Let's go to DXY. So for those that don't know, the dollar index, well, it's actually looking good. The dollar index is just the value of the US dollar. So we like to look at this in correlation with all the other major USD pairs. Based on where this is going, guys, we can get a good, or we could use this kind of as confirmation in entering on other trades here. So we're going to bump up to the weekly time frame, just get an overall idea. As we could see here on the weekly, where in Jersey are you guys from? From Warren County? Yeah, no, we're like near Morristown, so Morris County. So on the weekly time frame here, as we could see, this week has been fairly bullish. A lot of buyers are stepping into the market. We're very overextended here. So what I mean by that is price is all the way down here. There hasn't been any pullbacks really, any lower highs. We had this pullback, but we haven't had a pullback since November, October. That's when we had this huge bearish engulfing and then just pushed to the downside here. So we like to mark these weekly and monthly key levels. So these are just support and resistance based on the highest time frames, monthly and weekly. So these are definitely areas that have a lot of volume. And what I mean by that is there's a ton of orders here. As we could see, price came up to this level, rejected it, pushed down. Price came up, broke this level, rejected it, pushed up. So we know when price comes near these levels based on this higher time frame that we're going to get a lot of volume, either rejection or support, either or. If we look right now where we are, we're pretty much in no man's land based on where I have my levels marked. So we're not near this weekly level. We're not exactly near this monthly level. We're just right in the middle of it. So let's go down time frames here and just start to break this down a little bit further. So down to the daily time frame, we're clearly in a downtrend. Clearly in a downtrend. This thing has been trending downward for quite some time. And what I mean by that is look at the moving average. We're completely red over blue right here. We haven't had a pullback through the moving averages like this all the way, like I said, since October. So, this thing is definitely overextended. This also, to me, doesn't really show structure on this time frame. I want to break this down a little bit further, this whole entire push to the downside. So I'm going to come down here on the 4 hour time frame. So on this time frame is where I can see things a little bit clear. So I'm just going to take this off. So we have we pushed to this low down here. We pulled back. We made this lower high that was respected. I have this line here. I'm just going to move this over. So we had this line. This was tested multiple times. We had this rejection here, came up. we actually broke above, and then we had this like hammer candle above here, doji, pushed back below, came above, pushed back below, and then we held below this level. So this is our previous lower high, guys. I'm gonna fib from this level down right here. Boom. All right, so we've got our fibs on from our high. Let's move this up. We've got our fibs on from our high to our low. Then we pulled back to this 78.6 level, pushed down, pulled back again to this 61.8 level. So like we did last time, we can kind of just do a beginner's route of tracing this out. We had this pullback, push down. Now we're pulling back again. And then this is where we're at. So we can actually move this level now down. This is our main level of resistance right here. We put it on the wick of this candle. The bodies of this candle don't close above, and then as you can see here, had rejection there. So on the 4-hour, this is really our main area that we're looking to break. 4-hour structure is bearish. So daily structure is bearish, 4-hour structure is bearish, weekly structure is bearish as well, guys. So everything's lining up to really take a sell on the lower time frame. As we come down to the 1-hour, we can see the 1-hour, and if we're on the 4-hour time frame, guys, and we're looking structures, very bearish, we're looking for confirmations here. This would have been one confirmation, this bearish engulfing. Then we had this pullback here. Then we have this next confirmation, not exactly like a bearish engulfer or anything like this, just a lot of bearish pressure. We're waiting for this next bearish engulfing, this next bearish candle. And why is that? If we bump down to the lower time frame, we can actually see that this lower time frame is in an uptrend. So we broke this level, pushed to this high, pulled back. Now we're pushing higher again. So this thing is bullish on the 30-minute. So we want all time frames to line up before taking an entry, ideally. We want as many time frames as possible lining up. So I'm going to mark off this 30-minute level. This level is what needs to break. If this level starts to break, guys, on the retest, we're going to easily short this pair. Now, inversely, if this thing heads higher and pushes above this 4-hour level, that's when we're going to start to look for long opportunities. So I'm going to map this one out. I'm going to put it above here. If this thing does manage to get higher than this level, then this is when we're going to finally start to buy. So because the 4-hour and the daily are bearish, we want to wait for the 4-hour at least to start to break structure in order to take some buys. So yeah, this would be a very high probability trade if this did execute. And we'll look for that one. So this is DXY. So this is just kind of the overall direction. We're not actually going to take trades on this, but basically if this goes lower, then my sentiment on the dollar is still short. If this thing goes higher, then my sentiment starts to become more bullish. So let's actually go over now to a pair. Let's look at GU. Things in a very interesting spot. So let's bump up time frames. Let's go all the way up to the monthly time frame, and let's take this off right here. All right, so GU on the monthly time frame, it's below the 200-day, so it's bearish in that sense. It made this lower high right here, pushed down, pulled back, made this lower high right here, pushed down, pulled back, made another lower high, or had this bearish engulfing. So we're testing this level. You can see I have my level marked right here, this weekly level. We are testing this level. If this weekly closes above this level, that would be considered a break, right? So we've got, what is this? Oh, this is the monthly. So if the monthly closes above this level, I would consider that a break. If the monthly forms a doji, then we're still testing this area. It could still come down into this area. So let's go down to the weekly. All right, so weekly time frame, we're above the 200-day moving average. So momentum shifted to be bullish. As you could see, we were testing this level. So we had this level form, lower high, lower low, lower high, retest the low, came up, rejected this level, and then we were pushing all the way up now. So we're squeezed, like price is getting squeezed all the way up. And now we're in this area. This week's forming this doji candle right now. We had that gap up. So this thing closed low as fuck and then gapped all the way up here, pushed higher. And now this is where we're at. So let's just break down this whole entire channel right now. Let's go down to the daily and even let's go down even as low as the 4-hour time frame. All right, so we're gonna run through a little example here. This is kind of how I'm seeing GU right now. So we had this high, pulled back, and I'm just going to go over all this structure that formed, and then we'll see where we're at right now, and we'll see if it makes sense. So we came up, came down, and then this is where we're currently at. And this thing's getting really fucking choppy. So let's just look at it real quick without, normally we'll bring on the fibs and we'll fib out everything. That's kind of how we look at market structure, but we can just come through here and just look at this. So we started all the way down here. So we pushed up, we made this new high point right here, pulled back. This would be a lower fib retracement if I were to just bring them out like this. So we pushed up to that 0% level, pulled back, hit about 88.6, pushed up. So until this high is broken, we're not moving our fibs. We came back down, tested support, pushed up, made a new high, came down. Until we broke this level, we're still in an uptrend. So this level held. We came up, made a lower high, pushed down, made this higher low, pushed up to make a new high here. So this is when we would refib. We would draw our fibs from this point A to point B. We pushed down to around the 61.8 level, pushed up, had this pullback here. So all this while we're moving up our higher low. So this is our most recent higher low in an uptrend. Until this is broken, we're still in an uptrend. So then we pushed up to this high, pulled back. We started to consolidate in this area between this high and this low, pushed up, pushed down, and we finally broke right here. As this broke, we're saying to ourselves again, until this level breaks, we're in an uptrend. So it comes down, tests this level of support, pushes up, forms a new high, still in an uptrend, comes down, tests this level, and then we form this lower high, and then what happens here? We break. So this is what I would consider to be a break of structure, and this is all the way on the 4-hour time frame. And then this is where it gets choppy. So break structure right there. What I would do is I would fib from this previous lower high to this low, and I'd be looking for that first lower high to enter. We come up to this 88.6 level, we form that first lower high, and then I would bump down time frames, look for an entry, and then what happens? It comes down, hits support, just zooms to the upside. So this thing just pushes to the upside here and actually breaks this level, this 100% level. So at that point, what I would be saying to myself is we actually just broke back into an uptrend right here on this 4-hour time frame. Now we could bring back on everything, bring on the candlesticks. Let's take this off. So you ever struggle with doing structure, guys, just use that method, trace it out with the path tool, and then just run through and it'll make a lot more sense to you guys, and use your fib. So I actually fibbed from this high up here to this new higher high. And then as we bring the candlesticks back on, it's going to give us a better idea as to what's actually going on. So we push to this high, we gap down on the open this week. Yeah, we gap down on the open this week, pushed lower, and then we actually tested this level. So I'm just going to mark off. I actually already have it marked off right here. This is my 4-hour support. I'll just label this right here. This level was never broken. If we move it, we'll try to be as perfect as possible here. So this level was really never broken, and we pushed up now, and now we're just consolidating. We're just consolidating in this area. There's really no buy opportunity right now. I'm going to move this off. Ideally, what we want to see, like we're seeing now, we want to see this cross, retest this, and find support at this level. So in which moment you make money. So that's what I'm talking about. So we're going to go over like entries on this. So we found support down at this level. We pushed up. Now what we're waiting for is some confirmation, guys. So we've got the 200-day. We've got support level. Ideally, what we want now is some sort of bullish variation, very similar to this. So this, we had this morning star right here. This is a bullish variation. As we come down to the 30-minute, we could break this down, and we could say whenever I highlight like a higher time frame, bullish engulfing or bullish variation or anything like that, you want to just come down time frames to see whether that actually broke structure or anything. Because what is a bullish engulfing showing you? The bullish candle is closing above the bearish candle. That should mean that on a lower time frame, there's some sort of break of structure. We don't like to drop below the 30-minute. You know, this is the time frame we look for entries on. So as we can see here, the 30-minute clearly in a downtrend, trending down, made this lower high, pushed down. This was our most recent lower high right here. Push down, pushed up, push down. This level needs to break. So for us to take a long opportunity on GU, guys, we need to get above this level and we need to form a very clear cut higher low. On the flip side, I'm going to take this off. As we're seeing right now, GU is starting to form this bearish engulfing. We're falling below the moving averages. If we get something, exactly. So the 30-minute trend is bearish. Today, 30-minute trend is bearish. So if we get something very similar to what's happening literally right now, if this thing closes the way that it's closing, then I would enter on this because we got multiple confirmations here. I'm going to take off this higher time frame fib. We've got the 30-minute resistance right here. We've got the 200-day. We've got the moving averages. This is falling through the moving average, telling me that momentum is shifting. And this is an area that we would want to get in at, guys. This is a typical entry. As we could see here previously, look at all the times the moving averages were tested and rejected. That's when price started to move. That's when momentum started to change. So that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing momentum shift. And what I would do to enter on this is I would simply put my entry right here, and then I would use either very aggressively, I would put stops like right here, around 40 pips, or more conservatively, I'd put them around 60 pips up here. And I'm just using this previous high point above all these wicks right here to really place it. We've got a lot of confirmation, but I would wait, even if this thing pushes down a lot, I would wait till the 30-minute closes just to be safe. You don't want this thing to wick out on you, and then you're just in a trade that's not ideal. That's not good. So this is GU. I would target first this 4-hour support level, and then below that, I would just start to target this weekly level. Obviously the risk reward would be good on that. And I'm gonna put this one here. So that's GU. Let's go over now to UCAD. So this thing's clearly in an uptrend. So let's go to the higher time frame and let's see if that all kind of lines up. So weekly time frame, this thing is bearish. We broke below the 200-day. Moving averages are bearish right here. They're starting to flatten out a bit though. And this week, as you can see, we're pushing up. We have these two dojis. So I went over this last week. Going into this week, guys, we were looking for this bullish move. And I'll put out the analysis after this. We were looking for this to go bullish because we were at a low, and then we formed these two dojis, which tells me that this was a support level. And then we started to push up. So let's just break this all down further to a lower time frame. We had this daily time frame right here. Daily, very clearly bearish. Overall picture is bearish. Push to this low, pulled back, push to this low. Now we're pulling back. So let's even go down to the 4-hour. This is going to be a better idea of what's really going on right now. So I'm going to move this over. All right, so when it comes to structure, again, guys, if you're a little bit confused, you can just go ahead and you could trace. We'll start off right here. You could really just trace this out. And this is going to really help you with identifying where structure is, where the breaks are, and everything like that. So we have this, and then this thing pushed higher. So I'm going to go ahead, see if I can just do it like that. There you go. So we've got structure was very bearish right here. Push to this low, pulled back to this lower high, push to this low, pulled back to this lower high right here. That's when we started to form our most previous lower high. And then, as you can see here, this is the break. So on the 4-hour time frame, we broke to be bullish. 30 minutes bullish. All these, the lower time frame below the 4-hour is bullish. As we looked at in the daily time frame is just in a retracement. And I just want to pop back up to the daily real quick. So daily is in a retracement, and I had said earlier last week that pretty much there's no resistance here. Look at how this fell off. There's really no resistance all the way up until this level, all the way up here. So I'm looking for price to continue higher into this level. And with that idea in mind, let's just go down to the 1-hour and let's take a look at where we could potentially enter. So I'm going to fib from this low all the way to this high. So I fib from this wick, the first bullish candle that started the push, then the last bullish candle right here. We pulled back to this 50% level, pushed up, pulled back right here, pushed up. Now I wouldn't enter on this in this area. I would enter. This is a very good entry right here. I like to enter on the crosses. So when this finds support and then starts to push through the moving average, that's when I would enter. I would have threw stops below this 50% level. Now at this point, look where we're at. So we're doing very similar shit where we need to come back through the moving average. So if this thing pushes through this crosses on the 1 hour time frame, I will very easily enter on this, and then I will target that higher time frame level that we talked about, which lines up directly with our fibs. So pretty much from right here, this is what we're looking for. And this is if this were to execute right now. Obviously, it's, a little ways away. It's still got to push up a bit, but I would throw stops like below this 38.2, and then I would target, this is 5 to 1. So I could even put stops a little bit lower to protect myself even more, and I would still have a nice risk reward on this. Say I put stops around 70, then we'd be below 50%, this previous support level, below this 200-day. And yeah, then we'd still have a nice risk reward here. So two ways to play it, either more aggressive and get better risk reward, or more conservative. So that's UCAD. That one's lining up as well. Let's go over to USEF. So I'll drop this analysis in the chat, but this was earlier in the week. This thing played out really well off of this level on the 1 hour time frame, and as you can see now, we're pushing even higher. So let's bump up actually to the weekly, and I'll go over why did I look at that level and why were we looking for reversal. So this one's a little bit different than UCAD. This going into this week, this candle was very clearly bearish. So this thing closed bearish, no wick, so it was tough to basically say going into the week that we're going to reverse, other than we're very overextended. But let's bump down to the daily time frame. So daily is where I started to see, look at all these dojis. So this is all low volume. So all this tells me is over the past 5 days, this thing tried to push lower, and this level held as support. So it's telling me price is being squeezed here. Inevitably this thing's gonna pop up like it just did. On the 4 hour, I went through that same exercise that I did before with the path tool, where I just traced out market structure. This is where I found my most previous level on the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour time frame, this is the level that ideally I needed to break. And this was being very safe. I could have even looked at this level down here. So we pushed down, pulled back, pushed down, then we pulled back. This is significant enough to look at. So conservatively, we could have waited for this level to break, which was right here, and then this pullback, and then buy all in this area. But I was actually all the way down on the 1 hour. And the 1 hour is really where I went through that example. If we go back to earlier in the week, right here. So run through that whole example, traced out market structure, saw this level. This is the level that broke. Trend line broke, 2 confirmations. That's more than enough right there. Plus we're very overextended, so there's a lot of volume down here. And then this thing pushed up. Wouldn't have entered on this. This is too much. There's too much volume for me, too much noise. And then pretty much, let's look at it down to this level. So this level got tested again. And then guys, this is where I'm looking to enter. I'm looking to enter on the cross combined with the bullish move through there. Ideally, we want to enter above the 200-day, because that's a resistance line for us, a very immediate resistance line. But say I did enter there, that was my entry. I would just simply throw stops below this wick over here around 30 pips, just even it out. And then I would have targeted at the least this high, and then even higher. We bring on the fibs and look at the targets. And then I believe this thing comes down again, and then it starts to push up. So this is really the first entry would be right there. Second entry would be something like this. This is a lot of volume to enter on though. And then this thing, inevitably, this is where it's at right now. So this trade is up about 1 to 1 from early in the week. Very, very clean entry on this one. I'll just highlight it for you, and then we'll go over what do we do now? Because the entry kind of passed, it's back here. Now what do we do? So we could have re-entered on this. I'm going to move this here. We could have re-entered on this, or actually I'll leave it. We had this pullback. So if I had my fib on here, like we were talking about earlier, and I was fibbing from this low to this high, and this gap makes it look a little less attractive, but just pretend this bullish candle is down here. It gapped up over the weekend, and then it pushed to this high point, pulled back to 78.6, pushed up right here. That's when we entered, pulled back, retested that support level, pushed up. Then we had this pullback again, hit 38.2. We could have entered again on this. We could have entered on that and then thrown stops right below this 200-day. Very nice, clean entry. Would have been up already 1-to-1 right about. And then we would start targeting this negative 27 up here. So you certainly could enter, if this thing does pull back and retest this, we could enter again. And I'm just going to bump up to the daily. So we'll always bump up to higher time frames, guys, to look at your like projection, look at where you're targeting. And we could see on the daily, there's really no resistance all the way up until this 618, all the way up until this level up here. So this thing has quite a bit of room to push up, even down to the 4-hour. 4-hour time frame, we've got resistance at this level right here, and we've got the 200-day all the way up here. So we're looking for this thing to push to go long. At the moment, it looks like it's heading a bit higher. Let's just bump over to USEF really quick, and I'll drop this in the premium analysis for you guys. So inside of the Discord, we post premium analysis. So this is just only for members, and we'll just show potential trades for today, potential entries, and we'll put the entries in the signals when we see that. So let's go over now. This thing's going crazy. Let me just turn this off. All right, so that's USEF. Things pushing a bit higher. Let's look at GU. So look how GU just closed. GU closed bearish engulfing through the moving averages, moving average cross. This is a typical entry, guys. So if you guys were to enter right now, I'd throw stops 60 pips above here, targeting this low all the way down here. Let's see, all the way down here. Hold on, gotta unmute this guy. Here we go. So yeah, so we're looking to what's up, man?
What's going on?
So we're looking to enter, guys, right here. Realistically, looking to enter. Had this bearish engulfing, nice cross right there. 30-minute trend is bearish. So that's GU, and it was good that we waited for the close. The close actually like no wick or anything like that. If we entered and this thing wicked up, then we would have been fucked. So yeah, better to be patient, guys. So let's go over to NU. So this thing's also looking like a short, and this thing's looking crazy. So let's bump out and look at what's going on NU. Oh shit.
Now, granted, guys, also be aware of this week. Volume is going to die down probably towards the end of today and then obviously tomorrow. So just, take that into consideration. If you see some good opportunities today, take it as you normally would. Maybe reduce your risk if you are a little cautious because of the holidays. But yeah, just look for, opportunities earlier in the day. Don't get tied up into something too late into the day because, again, the volume could die down and you don't really want to hold anything for that long period of time.
Yeah, sir. All right, so NU on the monthly, we broke above the 200-day, but look how overextended we are. We're very overextended on this time frame. We're kind of in no man's land right now. There's really no resistance. There's no confirmation until we get up to this level. So there's no confirmations on the monthly. Weekly time frame, only confirmation that I'm seeing is just these candles, how they're forming. Look at the wicks on either side. They're starting to look like reversal candles. And then this week is obviously pretty bearish. So let's just break this down more. Let's go down to the daily time frame. We pushed below this level, and now this is resistance. So we were above the moving averages all this time, and then yesterday pushed down, and now we're holding below this level. So as long as we hold below this level, this thing is going to start to retrace, going to start to pull back, and it could pull back all the way down to this level right here. Let's go down to the 4-hour. So the 4-hour, if we ran through our little example, we could clearly see that this thing broke structure pretty much right here. This was a break of structure, exactly how we teach it. This was a higher low, pushed up, broke this level, look for the first lower high. And going into the week, this was our idea. Either find support here, push the upside, or break this trend line, push the downside. This thing played out fucking really well. So let's look at where we could potentially enter. We know that this is in a downtrend. This broke structure on the 4-hour. This is now in a downtrend. So I'm going to go to the 30-minute, and I'm just going to take a look, or actually start on the 1-hour. So I'm going to go to the 1-hour, take a look at where could we potentially enter on this. So 1-hour time frame had this huge push to the downside, pulled back, formed this lower high, pushed again, pulled back. So conservatively, guys, we're waiting for a bearish variation through this level right here. Very similar to like this right here. We fell below here, could have thrown stops like above this level, went in some profit. Now we would have been in some drawdown, which is fine. So this is the trade path. We're looking for this thing to push a bit lower, get below this random line right here, and continue with our original analysis. Original analysis had this thing pushing much lower. If this thing does continue to head lower, then or forms that variation through here, then we'll simply enter right like this, stops above about 40 pips or so, and then we'll start to target these lower time frame levels down here. So as you can see, this thing's wicking. That's why we want to kind of wait and be conservative, and we'll see how this 1-hour plays out. But I think this is going to be a good position. So I'll put out this analysis in the premium analysis too. And then last but not least, let's go over to EU. So I'm going to bump up to the weekly. Let's bump all the way up actually to the monthly time frame. So monthly time frame on EU, let's just look at structure really quickly. Everything got a little screwed up, a little nutty here, but the two things I'm looking at is we're above this 200-day. We're far, far away from these moving averages right now. We're pushing higher, very similar to here. We're pushing higher, and we have this level. This is our key level of resistance on the monthly time frame. As you can see, we're rejecting this level. We hit this level, and then this is where I'm looking for reversals because this is a big confirmation for me. So this is a resistance level. As I bump down to the daily, we could see this is an uptrend. We're all the way up at this high right now. So I want to break this down even further, break this down to the 4-hour. And then this is when we could run through our little example that we did where we mark out market structure, and we could very clearly see this thing pushed higher, pulled back, and we actually formed a higher low right here. So this is the level that needs to break. I mapped this out early in the week before the week started. We need to get below this level. This is support on the 4-hour time frame. I don't really want to take a trade. I could take it a little earlier. It's going to be more of a risk. Like, look at the 30-minute. 30 minutes showing an entry right now. Like, we could enter right now, throw stops above this 200-day around 40 pips. This thing, if we fib this, it's got 38 too. So it's like a nice, solid entry point right there. But this 4-hour level of support is pretty major. So this would be a little bit more risky to take this trade at the level. Ideally, we just wait for it to literally close below this level, and that'll just tell us that the sellers are continuing to step in, momentum's still bearish and everything like that. If I were to take this trade right now, what would I target? I would just put my targets down here. This is a 4-hour support level, and then I would just maintain it all the way down to that level on the 30-minute time frame. So that's EU. So I'm going to stop there. I went over EU, NU, USEF, UCAD, and GU. I'm going to pass it over to Nick. In the meantime, we're going to do a little giveaway. So if you guys want to get in on the giveaway, just type in your Discord name in the chat. So just put your Discord name in the chat, and then you guys will be entered in the giveaway, and I'll announce it after the session's over. So I'm going to let Nick go ahead.
Yeah, so that was a good amount of analysis. A lot of good trade ideas in there, guys. And the best part is this will be recorded, so you guys can review it, take a look at it. But let's get right into it. We're going to do 6 pairs here, and then we're going to just do a recap on DXY. So Angelo covered this pretty in depth, a lot of detail. It is primarily bullish on the lower time frames, but if we do start on the daily and work our way down, we can see that we had a huge bearish leg form, right? Huge bearishness. We did push to a major multi-zone. The dollar has just kind of been falling off here for a little while. Just go right to the 4-hour, check out this pullback that's happening, and take a look at key resistance at 90.8 right here, where price action has already tested twice and is looking to make a third attempt. We can check out the 4-hour and just see that this is clearly bullish, right? Lots of higher lows on this time frame. You could even draw in a supporting trend line if you want, just to get a better idea of what's going on here. Okay, so clearly bullish. I think it's very likely that we'll see a little bit of a rally into 90.8, in which case we'll reanalyze and go over, different trade scenarios. If this were to continue bullish, we'll factor in a higher low scenario, or if this is to reverse, we'll factor in just testing as a high and then a break lower again. So we'll see. Either way, we have to wait until price action hits this 90.8 area and then makes a move and shows us something. So that's where we're at now on DXY. Bullish short term. Could just be a pullback in a much larger bearish trend. So we'll see. But in the meantime, we can jump over to other pairs and kind of, interpret that. So DXY is bullish. What does that mean short term from some of these other pairs? First one, AU, that would mean some bearishness, which kind of lines up with the technicals here on this time frame. But we're going to start on the daily first and just see where AU's been and what the overall trend is. So we did just fill this range, right? Nice bullish leg all the way up to our weekly zone. Let me drag this over at 0.76. Okay, very bullish overall, as we can see, and we did hit a major resistance level. So this is an area where we could anticipate some sort of price reaction. So maybe a reversal could take place here. Let's drop to the 4-hour and get a closer look. And that's actually exactly what we just saw on the 4-hour. It's a bit of a head and shoulders forming. This would be the left shoulder. This would be the head. This would be the right shoulder neckline right here at 0.7525, basically. Right there, I'm going to draw this price label. Let me bring this up. Okay, so there's our neckline. Clearly defined, nice psychological level as well. So if this is to reverse, we're not going to get in too early. We really want to see the right confirmations. We need to see a transition take place. We want to see these, even though this is a neckline, this is technically a set of higher lows, right? So we had our first higher low set here and then just lows testing the zone. Nothing really broke it. So if this were to break, this would be a 4-hour transition. So this would be a great opportunity for a trade, because all we really want to do here is look for the break and then confirm this break with a lower high, and then look for, bearish variations, evening stars, bearish engulfings for that conviction to enter on. And this is essentially what it would look like. Get the break, the retest. Depending on where this forms, you put your stop loss above it, well protected, and aim for a 2-to-1. You can go slightly below, but you really want to be around 2-to-1, and then just aim towards the bottom of this range towards 0.74. Okay, so this would be a really great trade, honestly, if we got this reversal. And the best part is this is, again, a short-term trade, right? We're literally just filling the top of this range here. I mean, we're literally just filling this range, but we're still at the top of this bullish push. So if we go out, if we zoom out to the daily, right, that's a very small portion of this overall range. So if this were to be a true, pullback, true reversal, we could see this fall much, much lower. For one of our deeper targets would be this daily support around 0.72. Okay, so again, you would be able to manage it into a much larger trade, meaning a much better risk to reward and so on. But this is where we're at on AU right now. Nice little short opportunity, kind of waiting on this reversal and lining it up with the bearishness on DXY right now. All right, not bad. Looking pretty good on AU. Let's move over to AJ. It's going to look very similar. We did just have a very large rally. We're going to go right to the daily. Very large rally into key resistance, just like we saw in AU, right? Very, very bullish here. Very steep bullish leg on, this is probably a 4-hour trend here, right? But overall, we're on the daily, still very bullish, kind of a wider ascending channel. We are at a new high though. Like I said, we are approaching the 79 resistance level after this huge rally, but we could fall a little bit short if we start to see some reversal signals and break of structure. So we're going to drop to the 4-hour and see what's going on this time frame. Okay, still very bullish, higher lows, higher highs. We did get a high here gave us a flag, didn't really have the conviction to complete the flag as far as achieving its target. Rule of thumb is you want to target the height of the pattern, 62 pips from the break. And we didn't, that would have put us over this resistance level or, damn near close to it. And it just didn't happen. So it kind of flopped after this break. We did get a little transition here. This is a 1 hour break of a higher low. MA's crossed. And it looks like we're getting a bit of a pennant here. Either way, this is consolidation. We did have to, fib it. This is a lower time frame fib because we did get this little bit of a transition here. So I just wanted to see if this had kind of the balls to push lower to continue with this, bearish leg. But it looks like we're getting a bit of support. So that's a good sign. So let's just clear these fibs up to make it a little more simple. If we are to continue with this bullish trend, I just want to see, this honestly could be a little entry here. It's kind of actually breaking out of this consolidation. Let's go to the 1 hour and get a closer look. And I'll draw up a more accurate entry for you guys. So we look at this. We do have a little bit of a break right here. Okay, and then this could be an entry if you see some sort of bullish engulfing here, or if you want to be a little more conservative, you could wait for a break of our 4 hour zone right here. So let me go ahead and get the price label. Put this right here. Okay, so you can wait for a break of this 78.45, which is the more conservative entry, or you could be a little aggressive and enter now on some sort of bullish setup. So this is what it would look like either way. If you were to enter here on a setup, you're going to target higher towards key resistance at 79 flat. Put your stop loss outside that, well over 2 to 1. Now, again, the more aggressive trade here is actually going to give you a better risk to reward, but I always recommend waiting for the more conservative entry. Because again, this is a 1 hour break down here versus a 4 hour. Obviously, the 4 hours more weight. If you have price action with conviction moving through that, that's going to be a better trade. It just makes more sense. Let me just go ahead and extend this for a second. So always keep a clean chart too, guys. If things get too cluttered, you can lose track of it pretty easily. So just stay on top of it. Take your time to make sure you have the right levels. Everything looks pretty clean. So I would do about this probably 30 to 25 or 20 to 30 pip stop loss. You're well over 2 to 1 here anyway. You're targeting the same level. This could even be a scale in method. You could enter on both of them if you wanted to, but either way, we're looking pretty long on AJ right now. But yeah, at least the way that it's moving. Doesn't mean it couldn't reverse, but this is what we're looking at right now. It could definitely pull back to this 4 hour level and reverse from there. We'll see. But again, I'm just kind of favoring the overall trend here, which is still very bullish on AJ. All right, let's move over to UJ. Okay, so again, DXY is kind of pushing up. So I'm expecting UJ to push up a little bit too. There is key resistance here right at 103.6. Let's get to that in a second. Let's just go over the overall trend on the daily. Very bearish, very, very bearish. Key support, or just a key level in general for UJ for a while has been 104.5. We did recently break that and then established tons of rejection from this level, which is good. So it's now acting as resistance. So let's drop back to the 4 hour, just get a look at that. See, 104.5, tons of rejection, which is a good sign. We finally broke that level. And this is, very, very strong bearish trend right now. So let's just continue looking for short opportunities and targeting lower. So we did after we tested 104.5, we did shoot down to 103 as we expected. And right now we're kind of just consolidating a little bit above that. We didn't pull back and break any lower highs, not yet. But if we did get a higher low above 103.6, that would be our first transition on the 4 hour time frame. So we're actually going to drop to the 1 hour here and just mark up 2 trade scenarios as this is going sideways. So guys, with consolidation, there's 2 ways it can play out. We're looking for a break to the upside or downside. I mean, to be honest. Now we are going to favor a short scenario because the overall trend is bearish. So I really just want to see this. Let me extend all these levels real quick. Okay. All right, so I really just want to see this. I want to see some sort of break. I want to start seeing some lower highs that I can enter on. I want to see structure form, and then I could target down towards 103, and then even, a little bit past, depending on where some of these higher time frames are, or higher time frame levels are. Okay, but 103 is definitely a huge level first. I mean, it could slide off so much after we break this level, but we really just need to see some serious conviction from this zone, right now. Yeah, some sort of lower high. This would be a good trade. Let's mark it up. Okay, at least 2 to 1. So this would be a short-term trade, and then you could always look to manage it if it extends beyond 103. And then as we see, lower highs, you can either, move your stop loss up or take more positions and so on. All right, so that's UJ. We'll see how this one plays out. I mean, this consolidation just needs to break. It's been happening since December 18th to now. All right, so that's UJ. Let's move on to EJ. A lot of consolidation happening here as well, but more on a higher time frame. So let's go right to the daily. Take an overall look at the trend. Very bullish here as well, after a huge transition on this weekly. So this was a huge weekly trend here, descending channel. Then we had a break after this lower high was broken. We established a higher low, and then we went bullish. We rallied all the way into our monthly zone, reversed, formed a nice bearish channel, and then gave us this very large reversal pattern, and then rallied back into the monthly zone. So that's where we're at now, where we're consolidating, and it's forming, actually, you can see a giant flag pattern. So let's go to the 4-hour, get a closer look. Now, we originally thought when we saw this flag forming that, it had the conviction, because we had such a huge rally. It definitely had momentum. The market was taking a breather. It was a good flag formation. So we're expecting a breakout. So when this happened, we were looking to enter on some sort of higher low. It didn't form and didn't have the conviction to break through this level at 126.5. Instead, it gave us a fake out, pulled back down, and then started testing support again at 126. So let's zoom in right here for a second. So again, this is still pretty much a flag pattern. It's way bigger than I would like it to be. But it still could technically break out. So essentially, I would consider this more of a very large rectangle now, if that's more visible to you guys. Let's see. Okay, right, very large rectangle. So ideally, I mean, this is very bullish, as we know. So let's say we were to continue with this trend. We were to look for buys only. What do we want to see happen? Really just want to wait for that higher low above 126.5. That would be the most conservative. That would be the largest move. That would have the most potential for profit. Probably the best risk reward would be this scenario right here, this trade path, right? But if this does reverse, right, it's just consolidating. Let's say the bears finally step in. This one's going to be pretty simple as well. We're looking for a lower high below 126. Just mark this real quick. There we go. And this is what this would look like if we were shorting here. I mean, this thing, so EJ moves a lot. A lot of JPY pairs just move like crazy. This obviously has very good volume. It covered this zone very quickly over here. So, I mean, if this is to fall, it's likely that we'll see it come down to our support at 124.75. Right, let's just zoom out for a second, go to the daily, see if that makes sense. This was the last level of structure that was broken. So if it does come back to retest, this would make a lot of sense. And if we do look to the left here, this did consolidate. It did take a while to reverse, right? It did bounce off this area quite a bit. This is holding a little bit higher, so there is a little bit more bullish pressure. So we'll see how price action breaks out pretty much of this rectangle. So whichever way it goes, I mean, we'll be ready for it. But this would be an interesting short opportunity if it were to drop. Definitely a very clean setup, guys. And we'll keep you guys aware as this gets closer to a breakout. But yeah, this is going to take a little bit of a while. Look how long it's been sitting here. Like 16 hours it's been sitting at 126, just bouncing off this level, just rejecting. So yeah, it's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think, especially as volume continues to die down. But anyway, let's move over to last pair, gold. Daily time frame to start. Let's zoom out. Very, very bullish overall anyway. So, right, pretty much all bullish as we can see. We did recently rally to a new high at 2070. And then after that, price action, started, or at least the bullishness started dying down, right? We started pulling back. We got this very large bearish channel here. Lower lows, lower highs, breaking through key levels of support at our daily zone here, 1930, rejecting and moving lower, testing 1800 once again. All right, so we are bearish overall on the daily here, but as you guys saw, the weekly and higher, it's gold has been bullish for a very long time. So, where's this going to go? Is it going to continue this daily bearish trend and make another push lower, or is it going to start breaking some resistance levels and continuing with its next bullish leg? So let's go to the 4-hour, see if we could spot anything happening. Okay, so we are bullish here, right? Nice little 4-hour trend. We did see this head and shoulders form, got kind of faked out on that. We didn't take an entry, but it definitely looked like it was gonna break this level of support right here at 1826 and move a little bit lower, but it didn't. Instead, it broke through these MAs, gave us tons of bullish variations, 3 good candles right here, and then just rallied into 1875. It broke 1875, couldn't give us the higher low, and then pulled back. So now it's resting at a key level right at 1860. So this was a previous structure. So just kind of a lower time frame, significant zone. So let's go to the 1-hour for a second and see what we could mark up from here. All right, if this is to continue bullish, we do need to see this kind of rally now. We can't see it break this 1860 zone. So let's see what this would look like. Let me bring this over here. So if we did see this higher low form above 1875, this is what we would be targeting higher towards 1930. Stop loss would probably be just outside 1860, and we're looking at just over 2-to-1 risk to reward. So good trade here. Very nice trade. Definitely likely if this happens. Look for that significant break. It's got to be a pretty good break, right? We really want to get above all these highs here. So you want to get above this. Ideally, this one here as well. And then this set right here. So you want to get above those and some sort of higher low just above 1875 to enter on with strong bullish setups. And we're targeting towards our daily. All right, but if this is to break lower, let's say we get that break of 1860. Now you could look for a retest, obviously look for any lower highs with decent enough setups to enter on. More confirmation the better. Apply fibs again as well. So you could take a nice little short down towards 1826. However, I don't think this is the most likely scenario right now. But again, it could present something really good. Like if we get a nice break lower into this zone, pull back, good volume, enter on a lower high, MA cross, etc. And then you could make a nice trade down towards 1826. So let's mark it up for shits. See what this would look like. This is what I would ideally like to see. Huge move, huge pullback, continuation with the volume, like that. Actually, I want to bring this over. So there you go. Something like that would be your trade. Okay, let's zoom out to the 4-hour, just double check our work real quick, see if this makes sense. So yeah, if price action pushes lower, it could fill this range. Could definitely reach 1826. That makes sense. And then again, if we get a higher low above 1875 to fill this range up to our daily resistance is also likely. So, I mean, gold has the movement. So whichever way it goes, we'll be ready for it. But yeah, it's definitely got the movement. Once it goes, it starts moving, starts trending well. All right, so quick recap. I covered DXY, AU, AJ, UJ. AJ looks like it's about to move a little bit. UJ, EJ, and gold. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything you want to add, Angelo? Any questions you guys have? Now's the time to ask. Just drop in chat, or if you haven't already, drop your name in chat for the giveaway, and you'll be automatically entered.
Yeah, so guys, definitely entered for the giveaway. I see a bunch of you guys are in there. I'm just gonna show real quick. So for you guys that are interested in any of the services, the trade copier, the lifetime membership, just stay active in the chats. We're gonna give out all the updates in the Telegram or the Discord for that. We have the deal that's currently going on right now for the lifetime membership. For you guys that don't know, so it's currently 40% off right here just for holiday sale. I believe we're down to the final spots now. There's only 10 spots left. And the trade copier is going to be included in that. For you guys that don't know what the trade copier is, it's basically just our account management service. So you connect your account to ours, and all the trades that we take get taken on your account. So this is included in the lifetime deal. Again, there's only a few spots left, and all the info is being shared in the Discord chat. So just head into there and watch some of these videos and stay active in there, and we'll give you guys further updates. It's obviously the holidays, so tomorrow the markets are going to be, as Nick said, the volume will probably be much lower. We won't put out analysis tomorrow or Friday. The rest of this week will kind of take off, and then we'll get back at it next week on Sunday for the Sunday Market Blitz, and that'll be our next free live session. So for you guys that stayed on for the whole call, we appreciate your support, obviously. And this is recorded, so I'm going to post it on YouTube afterwards, and the quality should be good this time. And yeah, for you guys that are rewatching, it's just most of this is higher time frame, so you can follow this analysis for the rest of the week, and you guys should be good. So yeah, I'll end the call there, and we'll talk to you guys on the next call.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Shout out, everybody.